Hi, this is Chip, and I want to talk a little bit about creating mobile apps in Rev. The key part for me is understanding how to design an interface that scales appropriately. Now, some of you may have heard others talk about the fact that Apple, if you try and duplicate exactly the iOS guidelines, you may find that you have trouble with Apple getting your app approved by Apple. But if you actually do a nice interface and you don't try and stick directly to their guidelines, you have a better chance of getting approved. So this represents an iPhone screen, and as you can see, if I drag a button onto this screen and then I resize the screen, you can see that this is the Retina iPhone. The button doesn't really change or anything. And so what I've got is a set of libraries now that manages this a lot better. I can come right in here into this little library and I can say, okay, let's make this, let's activate this button and let's set it to resize. So now when I drag on the screen, you'll see that the button actually is resizing. So you can see it resizes no matter which direction I go. Okay, that's kind of cool. The other thing you can do with this library is you can let's import a control. Let's try something like this. Okay, so here's an icon, a button, a down state of a button. You can see. So let me drag the screen. Let's see what happens. Of course, nothing does happen. But what I can do is I can click on here and I can make it active. And now when I drag the screen, it's moving. But the problem is there's a couple things going on. One is it's losing its proportion. We want that to stay correct. So I'm going to bring it back to the minimum scale here. I'm going to click it, and over here in this inspector, I'm going to say resize proportionally. So now when I do that, you'll see that. Okay, now we're resizing proportionally, but you'll see there's also a lot of aliasing going on. And one thing that I realize is that when I start creating graphics and putting them in at this lower resolution and I'm scaling them up, I'm going to get problems. So what I typically do is I resize them at 2x. So let's take this image and let's make the size of it 50%. So let's go 103. 103. So this is an icon I created at 50%. I'm going to move it now here and I'm going to refresh the position of it. So now when I resize, you'll see that it's going to stay there. But again, I'm still having a problem. You can see it's still not resizing very nicely, but it is now staying perfectly circular. And I am using the larger image. This is the larger image to go down from here to the smaller image. So let's click on this and let's set the quality to good. Now when I set it to good, what's going to happen is I'm going to get a much higher quality resize. As you can see, the quality is much, much better. Now if I set it to best, it'll be even better, but the problem with setting to best is that the actual iPhone and Androids can't really manage it very well when you set it to best. So we're not going to, we're going to stay with good. Good is what you always want to use for images. So that being said, let's look at another couple interesting things. One is that this button, let's name this button. Okay, so we have a name for the button, and I'm going to scale it, and I want to refresh the position. So now you can see as we move it, you see the only problem is that look at the text is still small. So what I'll need to do is I need to select it, go down here and say resize the text. Now when I do that, you see that, wow, look at that. The text is actually resizing with the actual button. So I can do things like, one of the things, I can resize this proportionally, but I may want it to go completely across. So let's take my interface designer and let's go to alignment and we'll trim the right edge. See this little, I'll trim to the right edge to the edge, trim the left edge to the edge, and trim the top edge up here. There, so now we have a button at the very top that says this is cool. Let's go ahead and change the file typeface for that. Something a little larger. There we go. Okay, now we need to refresh the position again, make sure that we reloaded it. And now we go to the Retina, and you see that it's good. Although what happened here is we didn't set the text formatting. Let's do that again. And let's say turn active, resize the text, refresh the position. There we go. I think that's just a little bug in my, but there, it works perfectly now. So now we have an idea of basically how this library works. It's pretty straightforward. There's no programming involved. You just install a couple scripts. A card script really is all you put in your stack, and then you put then you have a library stack that uses some Ken Ray's code and some of my code to do things. So what I want to do is let's build an interface and show you how you go about building an interface. We'll do that in the next session real quick. Okay? Okay. Okay, so let's get started again. Before we go on to the design, I want to talk a little bit about how all this works. One thing that you ought to keep in mind when you're building this type of a project is that you always want to start at the basic resolution that you're going to want to, the minimum basic resolution. You want to set your min stack, your min width, and your min height sides. So let's take a look at this inspector here, and we'll see what I'm talking about. So look in the size and position, you'll see that my min width is 320, my min height is 480. I really do all my property setting at this height, even though I may want to be able to view it at different other scales. This is the scale, this is the basic scale for an iPhone. Now, if I'm not going to use the menu bar, the status bar on the iPhone, then these are the right settings. If you are planning on using the status bar, let's show you where that is set up here. So if we look over here, we'll see the status bar is visible or hidden. We're going to turn it off, right? So off will be 320. If we turn it visible, we want to make that 300, 300 when it's visible, or else you're going to get some distortion. So this size really needs to reflect the basic size of the iPhone that you're going to start off with. So right now we'll set it to hidden, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So here's our stack. As you can see, it resizes nicely to Retina and to this the regular screen, and then these might be various versions of Android or somewhere in here, so just so we know. So if I do a quick test on here, save, and we'll do a quick test. And you see here's our size. Now I can go over the hardware screen, and I can say, give me the the Retina version, and I have to go over here and click on it, and now there's our Retina version. So you can see everything's still the same. It's just everything's twice as big. So let's quit out of that. Come back here. So that's pretty cool. Let's talk a little bit now about how we create different controls on here. First, we're going to start off with basically a checkbox. So as you know, if we create a checkbox, we'll name it fun checkbox. And I'll scale that so it looks good. Okay, so that works nicely. Let's go ahead and give it some little other formatting. Let's make it 24, make it nice and big. There we are. So there's our fun checkbox. We can turn it on, turn it off. And of course, as we scale it now, see, nothing happens really. The text stays the same. It just stays in the same place. So let's go back into our STS resize inspector, and we're going to turn it active, and we're going to resize the text, and we're going to resize it proportionally. So now when we scale it, you'll see that it actually, it's not working right. So what's the problem? Well, we've got this box up here that needs to change with the icon here, that needs to change with the fun checkbox. Yeah, so that's not working. So let's go ahead and import some images files. Let's go box checked and unchecked. These are some image files. You can see they're rather large. And the reason why they're large is because Remember I said earlier that we always create our icons, our artwork, always create them for the highest resolution we're going to use. So we are scaling down, and each one of them, as we scale them down, again, we need to scale them down with quality is good. So let's just set that right now. Okay. You can see this one's ID 1460. So let's go back to Fun Checkbox, and let's turn the icons to 1460. There we go. So now you can see that looks pretty good, except that it's over on the right. So let's go back to our text formatting, and let's swap it the other way around. There we go. So that's kind of neat right there. So now I'm going to go ahead and drag this all the way down. Oops, I'm sorry. Let's move these characters, these guys over here, so I'll be able to get to them when we drag it down. Okay, so these are going to need to change size because we said they're going to be 50%. So we'll go to the size and position. We'll make them 50 by 50 pixels. This one and this one 50 by 50 pixels. Okay, so and this we're going to grow it out and get it where we like it. So now when I click on it, nothing really happens. Why is that? Well, that's because we didn't set a highlight state. So this icon right here, which is 1459, will want to be set up as the highlight icon. So 1459. There we go. Now, when we click this, it turns on and off automatically. Isn't that nice? So so far things are looking pretty good. So let's move this out. You see fun checkbox sizes. Ooh, but these things are still hanging around. So I'm going to just take each one of these and I'm going to just hide them. So I'll hide both of those. And now when I drag this out, you see, oh, the problem is the size isn't coming up correctly. So let's move this out again. Let's say refresh the positioning. And remember, then the other thing I want to do is just go over here, turn these back on. And I need to say these are going to be resized proportionally. Each one of these is resized proportionally also. Okay, and then I can turn around and hide them again. So now they're hidden. So now we should be pretty good. Okay, look at that. Boom, works perfect. Okay, so there's a checkbox. Only problem is, let's go ahead and save this. And let's run it. And you'll see that we've got a couple of issues here. We've got this, it looks good, but we have this rectangle around it. Why does that from? Well, the reason why that's here is because we have this thing set to show focus border and reversal on. So let's turn both of those off. And let's save it again. And now we'll run it. And there we go. Our fun checkbox is working just great. Okay, so next I'm going to talk a little bit about creating buttons. Okay, so now let's talk about some buttons. We already have this icon down here, which is kind of cool. So let's import some more. Let's get, that's the down one. Let's get the highlight and the normal one. Okay, so here they are. Again, remember we're going to make them good. And the size is going to be 50%. So it's 103 to 103. Okay, and I want to set these to resize proportionally. And let's fix this one. Okay, and we need to set him basic properties also to good. Okay, so now we've got all our icons lined up here. 1, 2. Let's turn. I'm going to turn him lock off on there, and then I'm going to import a basic button. I'm going to take this button and let me throw this guy up here. This will show me some icon information. So I'm going to take this button right here, and I want to, let's call it home, or name it home. And I want it to be resized proportionally also. And we'll move it there, refresh the position. So I want it to be, I don't want it to be opaque. I don't want to show its name. I don't want to auto highlight or shared highlight. icons and the borders. I don't want 3D show border, highlight border. The icon for it is going to be 1462. Okay, and the highlight icon, which is the down icon, which will be, let's use 1445. Okay, and then we'll go back to the size and position, and let's go ahead and fit the content, and then once again let's refresh this position. So now if we roll over it, we click down on it, we got nothing, and that's because, let's see, I think it might be through. How about auto highlight? That's the one. Okay, so auto highlights are, that's the one that we need to be paying attention to. Okay, so we'll turn opaque back off. So now we'll go in here. I'm going to set this to the, let's align it to here, and then let's align the bottom edge to right there. And now we can go take these guys. All three of these are going to be, or actually these all should be set to resize proportionally. Resize proportionally. Resize. Okay, they all are good. So I can turn around and turn them off. Okay. Oops. Need the button on. Need this icon off right there. Okay. So let's move this up just a little bit. Refresh the position. Okay, so now when we move it, you'll see that all that's working good. And if I go ahead now and say save it and test it, let's see, here it is in our browser. This all works good. So, and this works good. This button's working fine. So we've got a lot of cool things going on right now. Let's go ahead and look in the iPhone. We'll just take a look at smaller resolutions. Make sure that it's looking good there too. There it is. Perfectly scales fine. Everything looks good. Okay, so now let's talk about designing some interfaces. Let's say we have a home button here and we want to put some, let's say, some tabs at the top. So first let's move this checkbox down and let's refresh him. Now, and then we're gonna need to add some kind of background graphic, which I'm going to grab here, and we'll do this. We'll just come in here and let's go to the basic properties and make it opaque and turn the dashes down. Okay, so that's good. Let's make it, let's give it a gradient. We'll figure that here in a second. How to, now I'm going to use the Interface Designer, and it's like a little CAD tool. So it'll what I want to do is trim the left edge. So, whoops, I need to select a control first. Okay, trim the left edge of this. There's a little orange. You see this orange line dancing around? It tries to snap to different things. So if I put it all the way to the left, it's going to snap to the left. I'll put it all the way to the right, trim the right edge. It'll snap there, trim top edge. There. I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to move this up about like there. I think that's going to be my tabs. And then I'm going to go into the gradient again, and I'm going to change this light color. I can lift it by just hitting the space bar. So there, that's there. Then make the dark one. Let's go up here just a little bit. Okay, so there we go. So you can see it's got a little bit darker. Actually, I might want to reverse that now I think about it. So I just hit this button, it reverses that. So that's kind of what I want. Yeah, a little dark to light on that area up there. Let's lock that down, and let's go ahead and make this now resizable. So now, when we're designing, we'll see that we're going to design at a much larger resolution. So, oops. So now, what I want to do is I really want to create a couple tabs. I'm going to put 1 and 2 tabs up here. Number 1, number 2. I'm going to render out these buttons at 2x resolution, like we were always talking about. And let me show you how I do this. I'll come here. I'll grab a rounded rectangle. I'll double click on this, and I'm going to make it 60 on the round. I'll make it opaque. Again, I'll turn the line size down, and I'm going to put it over here. And this is going to be one of my buttons right here. So I've got it there. Right. Okay, so okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to assign a gradient to it, and I'm going to go grab some effects for this. Or first, let's get the gradient the right color. So I want this bottom color to be there. Maybe it's going to be. Let's see. Yeah, this is going to be the one that's behind, that floats behind this area. So we'll make it, and the top color is going to be something like this. Okay, so that's our. Let's make the bottom just a little darker. There. Okay, and let's reverse those. I like that even better, don't I? Yeah. And we'll add a quick drop shadow to this. Distance is going to be 0, and I think the size will be like 10. There we go. So that's kind of a nice drop shadow. Let's throw some text on here. That's going to be size and positioning of that text. Let's see what we got here. Text formatting, make it center, and we'll make it 48 or maybe 64. Bold. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks real good. I like that. Okay, we'll move out here. Contents. Okay, we're going to call this one 1. Okay, there's our label. Okay, maybe I'll change the color just a little bit. Colors, make it not quite as, there you go, that's a little nicer. Now I can actually put a little drop shadow on there, which is kind of neat. I'm going to go to this effects button here and add a drop shadow to the text. And I want, again, the angle to be 90. And I want the color is going to be white. And I want the size to be 2, and the distance to be 3. 2. And let's see, maybe distance is 1. There you go. Size is 1. And then I'm going to take the opacity down, keep down. There we go. And distance is going to have to be a little bit larger. There we go. 2. So it gives me a little, kind of a little drop shadow there. It's kind of nice. A little brighter. And spread distance. Let's try 1, 1. Okay. So and now I've got that done. I might do the same for this, and that is create a inner shadow that's white. Angle 90. It's going to be a little highlight area above there. Size is 2. Distance is 2. That looks pretty good. So I kind of like the way all that looks. It's got you might better make the distance 3. Do a little higher area there, and let's move this just a little bit to the left since we're going to move that. So now that this is done, I'm going to group both of these, and I'm going to make the margins maybe 8, just so that I can make sure I can see all of the nice drop shadow work, and then I'm going to cut it up so that it's exactly. Actually, I can even use my alignment, trim the bottom edge so that it's right there. Okay, so now it's locked in place, and all I need to do now is take a picture of it. So I've got a little tool that does that. All this is it basically will take a picture of this particular, whatever object you've got selected, and import it into, here we are. So there's one. Now I need to, of course, change the name to 2. There. Take another picture. Not that, see, what I had selected it took a picture of, but it's not what I wanted. I want to actually select the whole tab. Okay, there it is. There's 2. Okay, so you'll see that'll sit nicely over there. Now I need to create the highlight state, so I'm going to go back into select group mode, go in here, grab this, go back to my gradient, and I want to switch these now, and I want this light one to be here. Actually, I want it to be even wider than that. Let's try here. There, that kind of fits in, and then this one, maybe this one will be like this. Not quite. Maybe like that. That's better. Okay, so you can see how that kind of steps up a little bit. In fact, the bottom color probably could be just a little bit darker. So let's go in here. It's 100%. I'm going to make it like 98. Okay, that's perfect. So now that I've got that done, let's select again the group, snap the object. There's my highlighted tab, and then let's change the number of it to 1. Select the group and snap the object. Okay, so this is good fun. Now I've got this done. I'm going to just delete these, and let's pile these up here so I can get to them easily. And let's save my stack. And now I'm going to resize everything. Of course, these aren't resizing because they have to be divided by 2, right? So I'm going to double click on these. I'm going to look at the size and position of them. 297. So that's really it's 50% of that will be 150. 148, 148, and the height is 148, and the height is going to be 130. That's 65 or 66. Let's do that. Okay, so there's that. Don't forget to make it good. And so let's 148, 66. So we need to do this for each one of these. Now, let's see, these things all resize proportionally, which is nice. Okay, so now that's done, let's go ahead and add our tab button. So one of those, actually, if you think about it, a radio button is actually a tab, because it's like a tab in the sense that only one can be selected at a given time. So let's take this radio one, let's call him 1. Okay, and we're going to set him to resize proportionally, and we're going to turn off his name, and we're going to turn off the traversal on for him, and we're going to go in and turn off the 3D and the borders, and I want to give him the icon of the disabled one, which is 1500. So that's 1500. I'm sorry, 1500, and the highlight one is going to be 1508. 1508. Okay, and then we go to the size and positioning of him, and we fit the content. Here we are. And I can position him, alignment, align bottom edge to there. Perfect. So then let's just nudge him over a little bit. Okay. And then let's duplicate him, copy and paste. And let's move him over to here. And this one is going to be called, he is number 2. And his icons are going to be it's going to be 1504 and 1506. Okay, so now if you click on them, you'll see that they all kind of work, but kind of don't work. And the reason why is because we need to group them, just like regular groups. If we group them, now only one can be highlighted at a time, and they work fine. Okay, so last thing, we're going to have to come up here, undo. I need to select these guys, and I'm going to need to say resize that proportionally, refresh the position. This one, refresh the position. And let's take the rest of these guys. Let's see, go over here. And I'm going to hide all of these images. Okay. And now when we resize, see, we're resizing these quite nicely. And now we have our radio buttons that work. So let's go ahead and test this. And here we are, radio buttons, checkbox, regular button. All these things work beautifully. So last thing all we need to do now is actually let's look at it on a Retina device. Yeah, same thing, exact same thing. So okay, so now all we need to do is let's quit this. Let's add a field text, some kind of let's put a label field in here. Okay. And we'll add some text. There, put some script text in here, and we'll make the size of it 18, bold, or not, doesn't matter. So, and then what we'll do is I'm going to make this resize and resize the text. So again, as we look at this, you'll see the text resizes nicely. Actually, that might be better to have that opaque. So with a back color of white. There we go, and maybe some margins. That's probably. Oh, that's right. We don't have margins because we have our don't wrap turn true. Okay, so here we go. So we have that. I'll take this checkbox, move him down. So I take him and move him to the left, to the right. There we go. And let's just add a little. Here we'll use our line effects here, so I can say, give me a bottom shade bottom. Okay, add the line effect to that, to the bottom. So there it is, puts a little line effect there, and we'll put a highlight top, add a line effect to the top there. Oh, that actually doesn't. The top line effect doesn't really seem to do much good. So let's take that and delete it. Let's add a shade top there. Top. There we go. Okay, that works. And I just need to make sure these line effects are set. Sorry. The line effects are set to good. This one too. And then we need to make those resize proportionally, or resize, as well as this is resizing, as well as this is resizing. That line effect, this one needs to resize. Okay, so now, as I drag this out, yeah, everything looks good. Save. And let's run it in our. There we go. There it is. Checkbox, tabs, everything working, hardware. Let's look at the iPhone. Bingo, 2, 1. Pretty sweet. And so what's really great about this is this one interface now that we've designed will work on iPhones and Androids at any scale. So let's talk a little bit now about the actual what you got to do to install this. So first of all, there's this inspector. This is a plugin. You can use my alt plugin toolbar, or you can just call it from under the plugin area. And the way it works is when you highlight something, you can basically turn it on or off to resize. You can resize it proportionally, which is what we're doing. You can on something like this, or you can just resize it. So let me show you what the difference is. See, if I just pull this out, this gets resized. These are resized proportionally, as is the circle, right? So that's one of the reasons why. That's why when you do resize proportionally, you end up with some things that you want to maintain the aspect ratio on. You use that little button for that. If we want to, for instance, we could take this button and say resize it, as well as this one and say resize it, and then we'd have to go into the temp graphics and turn all these guys on. Let's see, and set those to resize, not resize proportionally, but resize, 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 and resize. Okay, and now when we go all the way out, you'll see that it does stretch out here. So you can do both ways. You can do it either way. Doesn't really matter. Let's turn these guys off again. Turn our feeder back on. Okay, and he needs to stretch. Let's alignment. Trim the right edge right there. Trim left edge right there. Refresh the position. Okay. So now it's all set. Right. Okay. So that's basically how this works. You have a resize text button also. So if you click that, any text that's in the object will also be resized. You can delete all the props for everything if you want to. There's one other button actually I probably should show you that I haven't yet. Let's do that right now. Let's delete this one and let's go into here and look at the all control button. So if I can, this is one of the drop boxes. This one's kind of neat. You can set this up at any resolution you want. You don't need to work at 2x except for perhaps the icon. But the way this works is you can create all kinds of cool buttons on using this tool. You can take an icon, for instance, an image. I'm sorry, the image, and you can delete it, and you can change the basic color, and whatever color you choose on this, it'll actually create the gradation for you. So let's do another. Let's do a little bird. Okay. We can center the text. I mean, you pretty much can control everything in this thing. The size of the text, 17, make it 21, 20, or 19. You can say the Y offset, center it a little better. You can change the color of the text and the shadow color if you want to create a little shadow on the text. There it is. Let's do the color. Let's make it really wider. Okay, there we are. You can import an image. Let's do that. Let's find an image. Here we'll find something like a big one. So here's like 128 by 128 something. Or let's do yeah, I guess it's 48 by 48. Let's try one of those. A little shadow here. We'll take American flag. Actually, okay, we'll put that right in here, and I can say set the image. That flag is 1534, so I can go in here and say 1534. Set the image, and now the image is right there. It automatically scales at 50%. Now we're deleting the original flag, so which is fine. So now we have an image right there. I can make the offset move if I want. Let's make the text size a little smaller. Move it to the right a little bit. make it bold. You know, there's all kinds of cool things you can do with this. You can actually create a highlight if you want, normal, bright highlight. If you're going to use bright, you probably ought to consider going a little darker on your button. See, it's got kind of a nice reflection going on there. And then once you get this set up, all you need to do is say, make this thing active, and resize that, resize the text, and you're all good. Because now all you do is grow it, and it grows perfectly. It's because it's built with Rev objects. It will grow perfectly with Rev, so it's kind of neat. You can, because it's a drop tool, you drag it and drop it. It automatically works perfectly on desktop and mobile as well. So it's been tested on both iPhone and Android. Been used on some different projects. So now this is done, let's talk about how do you get this installed. Like I say, you have this resize inspector, which you're going to need to use. And there is only really one thing you need to put in your stack, and that's the OpenStack script. And this is what it is right here. And this is on the first card. And you need to this is all designed to work with the different Android and iPhone devices and emulators, so that it makes sure that things get set correctly. So you can also add your own OpenStack stuff here as well, but this gets placed on your first card. Then the only other thing that you have to worry about is making sure that where is it? Here it is. That you start that you have this library installed. And this is the library. It's called libAltMobile Resizer. It uses a kind of a light version of the STS, Kenray's STS resizing library. It's got that in it, and that's it. I mean, once you put this script in your card and you start using this strip, will start using. It'll start using the stack right here, the mobile resizer stack. So once you've got that installed on any stack, you're ready to go. The other thing to keep in mind is you're going to want to make sure that your you're going to edit things at the minimum width, minimum height mode. You want to create them at the larger mode, but you want to edit them at the minimum width and minimum height mode. So that's about it for now. So it's a long session, but I hope that it helps you understand how to do all this. Okay, thanks.